Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Visit to the Unknown from Tensei Shitara Slime Talk, and so without any ado let's begin. Visit to the Unknown, 14 A Frightful Trap Part 1. I want you to help Michelle, said Jejil. She claimed to have been able to escape at just the right time. It was clear to her that she was not strong enough to take on General Kristoff. And trying something so futile would not help Michelle's cause in the least. She had decided this and come to this place that Michelle had told her about. According to her, General Kristoff, the founder of Machinery Arts, had visited South City and talked to Michelle. But they were unable to come to an agreement, and it had turned to war. General Kristoff's strength is overwhelming. And his soldiers are all first-rate fighters. And General Michelle was worried about injuring any civilians. She did not fight with her full power. And so defeat could hardly be avoided. Still, civilians had died. And even now the chaos continued. And Jejil had taken advantage of the chaos and escaped from the city. Still, surely you know that even we cannot go against the Machinery 4. Carmen said. Jejil nodded as if it were the most obvious thing. The Machinery 4 could not be taken by surprise. They were monsters that surpassed imagination. The strongest weapons of war in this world. I know. I do not expect that much of you. However, I want you to gather the power of the resistance and draw away the eyes of the soldiers. And then I can take our best men and save General Michelle. South City was in complete chaos. She claimed that the soldiers were unsure where to stand in this battle between the Machinery 4. And so this was where the resistance soldiers were to come in. Jejil had heard that Michelle had requested that they combine forces. And she wanted to use them in her plan to rescue Michelle. She had risked death in order to escape the city and bring them this proposal. I see. The numbers of the resistance are unknown and therefore would seem like a great threat to the Empire, which is now in chaos. If things go well, you might even be able to lure General Kristoff out. But what about the others of the Machinery 4? General Michelle was only taken about an hour ago. I do not even know what they were talking about before that, but I think the other cities are not yet aware of what has happened. After all, he would have to make General Michelle's crimes clear in order to make the others act. Jejil answered Riai's question. It was unlikely that the other Machinery 4 would get involved. Even if General Kristoff had the highest military authority, he would need definite proof in order to condemn Michelle, who was the daughter of the Emperor. Jejil insisted that he had to contain the incident within South City until he could provide such evidence. I see. I understand now. As for us, we would like to continue working together with General Michelle. And so we will do what we can. However, we have not yet heard back from the other resistance leaders. And so we can make no promises as of now. Sharma and Rindo said to Jejil apologetically. They did want to help rescue Michelle, but they could not contribute enough men. This diversion that Jejil spoke of would require great numbers. Jejil. We can move whenever we're needed. We're only alive today because of General Michelle, anyway. So you can use us however you want. Carmen said with a laugh. His men also chuckled fearlessly and nodded. Zaza was conflicted about this. As for me, I also wish I could go and help her. However, if I leave, no one will be here to protect the others. Zaza said. He did want to go. But he didn't want to leave the non-combatants unprotected. While this was a secret hideout, he was still worried. But Mr. Zaza. What if now is the right time to attack? We may not be as strong as the Machinery 4, but we have Jejil with us. If we succeed in rescuing General Michelle, we may even be able to defeat General Kristoff. Besides, don't you think the other resistance members will agree to join if things go well? Riais said as if to encourage him. Zaza had heard of Riais. He wasn't the most serious person, but he was known for being very sharp. There were records of Riais' team fighting the resistance soldiers, and not a single death on either side had resulted from them. And so Zaza was moved by his opinion. Yes. It really is a matter of getting the others to agree to it. If they all cooperated, we could gather a fighting force as we have never seen before. If the rescue succeeds, we may be able to attack them from both sides along with the resistance forces that create the diversion. Sharma said hesitantly. Zaza had thought about it as well, and he sighed and nodded. It really depended on the rest of the resistance. But it seemed like there was a real opportunity in front of them to destroy a corner of the Empire. It was too good to ignore. It wasn't just Zaza. Sharma and the others thought so too. Just then, Feldera's patience had reached its limits. He opened his mouth and spoke. Wait. Aren't you all forgetting someone? Someone very great and reliable at such times. Someone who is like a secret weapon. And just like that, the oppressive atmosphere was blown away. Surely you don't actually mean to help us. But, wasn't your agreement with Michelle just to escort us here? Zaza and Sharma asked in surprise. Feldera burst into laughter. Ramiris and Beretta saw this and began to whisper to each other. Lord Ramiris. The time limit is tonight. I believe the presentation is today. I doubt there is a difference in the flow of time here. At the earliest, Rimuru might find out about our actions today. So if you wish to hide your tracks, you must return right now. Damn it, Master. Wasn't he going to leave everything to Rimuru? I thought so too. But it's also quite possible that there won't be enough time even if you returned now. Yes, I agree with that. Besides, it would leave a bad aftertaste if we left this world like this. And what if we did come back later and everything had ended? Could you imagine such a terrible scenario? In that case, we might as well stay and see how things play out. Ramiris and Beretta had the same opinion and were in support of Feldera. It was also clear that Beretta just didn't want to deal with the hassle of covering their tracks. He was sure that they would force that role on him anyway. And it was possible that he would not be quick enough and they would blame him. Beretta's demon instincts were telling him that any such fabrications they might attempt would have dangerous results. And so Beretta had no objections. They would all get in trouble. That's what he thought, and he could not hide it. Kahahaha. Creating diversions is my specialty. Would you mind if I just destroyed the enemy altogether? Feldera asked with an air of triumph. Next to him. He just wants to go wild, doesn't he? Ramiris muttered. But Lord Ramiris. As much as I hate to admit it, I think having Lord Feldera do that would be the most effective. Beretta answered. Neither of them objected. Feldera would help, that was what they settled on. However, there was still a problem. Having Lord Feldera's help would be most welcome, but it will still be difficult to send all our men for this diversion. We must protect our base here and we do not have many men. Sending out all their soldiers and leaving those that should be protected? It was out of the question. And so Zaza suggested that they instead sent the minimum amount of men that they could. Things would be easier if the other branches sent reinforcements, but he wanted to create a diversion without relying on them. Zaza was prepared to die trying. If they drew attention like that so close to the Empire, they would likely be surrounded and annihilated. Perhaps Feldera, who was unusually strong, would survive. But there was no such hope for Zaza and the others. But if it would lead to Michelle's rescue. That's what he thought as he made the decision. However. Oh, Zaza. Do not worry. Beretta and Ramiris will remain here, so those who can fight should go out and cause a scene. We will prepare the weapons and equipment for this by tomorrow. Feldera said without any hesitation. However, there was one person who was not satisfied with this. It was Ramiris. Wait. Master. I want to go with you. She jumped onto Feldera's shoulder as she declared this. There was no way she could stand to be left behind. Tisk. But if you come, I will have to watch over you. And what's wrong with that? They were about to start arguing, but here, Beretta offered to help. Lord Feldera, why don't I go too then? But Feldera's reaction was clear. Wait, Beretta. You must stay here and protect these people. That way, Zaza will be able to go into battle without regret. And so Beretta had no choice but to agree. After hearing Feldera's words, Beretta decided to stay. As for Ramiris. I'm going no matter what, all right. She had decided she would not back down. And so it was Feldera who gave up. You're incorrigible. Well, I suppose I'll have to protect you. But then I won't be able to go all out. So what? There will be no need to. Ramiris was right. It was clear that Feldera just wanted to go all out. If anything, it was good that Ramiris would be there to keep him in check. That's what Beretta thought. And as for her protection, there was no way that Feldera would have a problem with that. And so Beretta decided to leave Ramiris to his care. Ultimately, it was decided that Feldera and Ramiris would participate in the diversion plan while Beretta would stay with the non-combatants. Good. Then I will lead the diversion troops. Mr. Feldera, you can support us. Leave it to me. Zaza said and Feldera nodded. And like that, the plan was devised on the basis that Feldera would be aiding them. And now, the present. It was the next morning when the plan would be put into effect. Carmen and his 4 subordinates were riding Riai's supply transport ship and heading for the Empire. They had held a strategy meeting and carefully planned everyone's official role. Yes, yes. Carmen and his men would know the most about the inner city. They should infiltrate it and rescue Michelle. I will follow Zaza's command and wreak havoc. Grandma will go to the river to wash the clothes, while Grandpa will cut trees in the mountains. That's what Feldera might as well have said, given the weight behind it. Of course, in Feldera's mind, he was likely cutting down the Empire's soldiers, not trees. Such were the images in Carmen's head. Just then, Jejil spoke up. By the way, Karma. There is something I've been curious about. Huh? What is it? Jejil looked around as if to appraise them, then she carefully opened her mouth. Have you also fought that man, Feldera? According to Michelle, he was as strong if not stronger than her. Jejil was wondering how he could still be alive after such a fight. Now that he thought of it, he had not made a report of that. No, no. The person we fought against was Beretta. All 5 of us attacked him and we were crushed into the ground. It was hard to believe. But the neutral launcher didn't work on him. Neither did the plasma weapons. Beretta was a monster. But still. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more content.